So, about halfway through 37s and 38s, I went home one night after being at the O Club and got out my typewriter, because I had a typewriter, and I wrote a resume and a cover letter. And my cover letter said, "Dear selection person, all I've ever wanted to do in my entire life is be a snacko. I've trained for this moment. There are 1,964 ounces of beer in a U.S. keg. I will never run out of popcorn," which I did later on, "or coffee, and I will not talk on the radio." And sent that out to 85, I think it was 80, 85 at the time, bunch more than we have now, guard and reserve units that were flying anything from A-10s to, I think an OV-10 unit maybe still. And in between 37s and 38s, that letter I sent was while I was still in tweets. And then I took my tweet check ride and walked to the parking lot and got in my Honda Civic, and I drove from Wichita Falls to Syracuse, Vermont, Atlantic City, DC, Richmond, Kelly, and back in the space of a week. While you had your sort of transition leave between 37s and 38s. And ultimately, the 174th Fighter Wing, the Syracuse Air National Guard, had a guy or gal, I don't remember, not make it to get FAR'd, and had an opening for a JO, and took a huge risk on me and hired me at the end of pilot training to come to Syracuse as a young F-16 pilot. I still can't believe they took a risk on me.
Look at you now.
I mean, I just saw all these folks recently and had the chance to tell them again, thank you. And that was super uncharted waters for them. So it was no pun intended, but great of them to do that.
Well, it's going, because obviously Slough connected us, which I do appreciate that. Looking at your bio, to me, it tells a tale of someone kind of pushing their own path, or not always walking the traditional path, especially for Air National Guard, or even starting out in an active duty component. But the aspect here, there are a lot of, I think, people listen that are pursuing careers in the Guard or Reserve. Now there's services like Bogey Dope out there, which I think is great, helping young dudes and dudettes get into the path and figure out who's hiring now, what the process is, like kind of peeling back the curtain a little bit and helping through the process. But in 1993, 1992, not necessarily the case. How did you even go about finding, like, even the mailing addresses of these units? That's a drive.
I found somewhere a list of every Guard and Reserve unit in the country, and it had a phone number, and I called every single one of them, man. And I got the address and got their mailing address and the name of their ops officer. I wish I still had that hard copy blue. I still remember the sort of dark blue. There was an F-15 on the cover of this thing. Joking to the Eagle folks, but seriously. And it was just covered with notes, and I would do that on early in the morning or late at night, where I wouldn't interfere, and just ground it out. I think that's one of the things that was a gift to me, is just the sort of mindset around, hey, only you can do these things. Nobody's going to hand these things to you. And if there's something you really want to do and you believe that this is the right path for you, get off your rear end and start moving towards that objective, and be tenacious. And the path to the Guard was not easy. Nobody'd done this. And so, I still remember I'm on step 1 of my 12-step recovery process. I go into my squadron commander, who was an Italian, and he's great. And we have a glass of wine. He signs my Palace Chase or Palace Front. I don't even remember the name of the program application. And he says, good luck, buongiorno. Your next stop is the wing commander. And I won't mention who it is. And the wing commander had flown with my old man. And I went into the wing commander's office, reported in, and he lost his mind and threw me out of the office, and would not sign my piece of paper, and told me I was a quitter. And so I sort of go back to the flight room and process all this over the next few days. And at this point, man, I've committed, right? I've shown my cards. And so, young Dan Caine, not the smartest kid out there, Rain. I go back in for a second time. This time though, I've got guard and reserve contribution numbers to Desert Storm, mission ready rates.